Yeah, that was what struck me so much. She started by talking about Donald Trump posting on Truth Social that he's a king yesterday in the context to your point, Tim, about congestion pricing. And then she has been really, really using very dark language. I mean, it's stunning to hear her talk about things like dark days are
Right.
upon us. I tried to write some of these down. New
Hmm.
York is facing a grave threat from the federal government. She said she considers herself a vanguard against the harms of Trump's revenge tour. So, this is the way the governor of New York sees the relationship between the president of the United States. I've never seen anything like this. I mean, we've had a lot, we have a federal system, so there's always tension, but this is to another level. And so I don't know what this portends because, of course, today, Carol and Tim, we are just a month into the Trump administration. It's stunning.
I also think what's stunning is considering that all that has been coming out of the president and his administration, executive orders, executive actions. There's a lot that has, I don't need to tell you, Jeannie, how much has been coming our way. And it does seem to, one of the conversations that I am having with different individuals is it's interesting to not see a ton of pushback, whether it is from Congress, whether it is from governors, whether it is from business leaders. And it does feel like she is the first significant leader across the country to really kind of, as you say, use some very dark language, tough language against the president of the United States.
I couldn't agree more, Carol. I mean, one thing I was talking to somebody about earlier is even before she came out today, you add those 7 prosecutors on who resigned, excuse me, you add on those 4 deputy mayors who resigned, except for the cases where we've seen the court stand up to a certain extent. This is the first concerted pushback that we've seen against the Trump administration. And I think depending on where they go next, we could see more. I think a big question for Kathy Hochul is one of the reporters, I couldn't see who it was, asked her, which was essentially, if this is such a crisis, why are you punting these extraordinary measures to 3 separate bodies in order to put them into effect? That would be the city council, the assembly, and the Senate. She certainly had an answer to that, but I think that's one of the questions that's going to hang over her is, can't you do anything now, given you're telling us that we are in a crisis that we haven't seen in, 250 years of the Republic?
Jeannie, what's the risk for the state of New York if Kathy Hochul stands up and is so defiant against the president here? I mean, he runs the federal government. New York City, New York State has a relationship with the federal government. What are the risks to New York?
There are certainly risks. I mean, this is a powerful person. He cares an awful lot about New York being his birthplace. We have the benefit of having Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries in Congress, but of course they're in the majority. So we could see some backlash. I mean, I think there's a lot of people, and myself included, who would say during his first term that we were the victims of the whole SALT controversy, which continues today. And so it's going to be curious to see whether blue cities and blue states and blue areas continue to feel like the president once again takes out his frustration and wrath against some of our blue governors and leaders on the city and the state. So that is certainly a risk that we're going to have to bear. Kathy Hochul says she'll be there for us, but of course she is one of 50 and he is one of 1.